And it worked out great. I had a lot of success, a lot of fun playing in Colorado. Alright, so I continued playing on that team all 4 years of high school, and during this time I was going to these national camps. And the first day of school, my junior year of high school, I got invited to come and try out for the under-18 Team USA national team. And I ended up making it, both my junior and my senior years. Alright, so everything in high school seems like it was going really, really well. And it was, but I started facing my first real challenges with hockey during high school. I had coaches for my Colorado team who were ex-NHL players. I had people, trainers, and nutritionists who were working with me on the national team. And all of them saw this potential in me to go on and be great. But the one thing that I really struggled with, believe it or not, was my eating and my fitness. Those are the two things that I had a really difficult time with, all right? I had a lot of raw talent, and so it didn't really matter to me if I could pass a conditioning test off the ice, or it didn't matter to me what I ate before a game, as long as I could go score goals. So I had these coaches and these trainers talking to me about, what to eat, I should be doing extra conditioning, all this stuff. And all I could hear them saying was, Lindsey, you're fat. Lindsey, you're this. Lindsey, you're that. And it just really, really affected my head. And I know that sounds crazy being this athlete, but it was a lot. And being in high school is such a sensitive time for a lot of people. And particularly for me, I struggled with that. And it was my biggest challenge. And yet, instead of taking their advice, I completely ignored it. All right? Because I was still, despite the fact that I looked and felt a lot differently than I do today, back in high school, I ignored that advice because I still was having a lot of success. I had a lot of success with Colorado. I had a lot of success with the national team. We ended up medaling both of those years, my junior and my senior year. And during this time, I was getting recruited to go and play Division I ice hockey at Harvard University. So, I get to Harvard. And I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I've had all this success in Colorado, all the success with the national team. But when I showed up at Harvard, I suddenly realized what those coaches and those trainers and those nutritionists were talking about. Because I got there, and I'm suddenly playing with girls who are 2 or 3 years older than me. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they're in much better shape than I am, and I couldn't keep up. So I was thinking I was going to be this star freshman coming in, running the show, and I couldn't pass my conditioning test. And I wished that I had listened. But it was a real struggle. It was a real challenge. And instead of going forward and listening to their advice, I just kept doing what I was doing. All of a sudden I was in a dining hall where I could eat whatever I wanted, and that's what I did, and it was really, really hard. The next challenge my freshman year was my best friend and my teammate, Elizabeth Turgeon, who I played with in Colorado, ended up getting in a car accident and passing away that December of my freshman year. And I so badly, when I was struggling with that, wanted to use her memory to inspire me to become better, to become this elite athlete and go on to be an Olympian, to reach that dream that she and I both shared. But I just couldn't do it. Anybody ever felt like this before? You have this goal, but it just seems so far off that you think, I can't do it, Well, that was me. But I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. You absolutely can, I didn't believe it at the time that I could be an Olympian. I was so far off my freshman and sophomore year that I didn't believe it. But I think that anybody who has ever accomplished a goal before or achieved a dream knows that we all have this sort of aha moment, right? And for me, my aha moment happened at the end of my sophomore year of college. My coach, Coach Stone, she pulled me aside, and I knew that she was projected to be the Olympic coach. And she pulled me aside and she said, "Lindsey, do you want this?" And I knew she was talking about the Olympics, and I said, yeah, of course I want this. It's like asking a dog if they want a bone, right? Like, of course I want this. And she goes, "No, do you want this?" And I looked at her and I said, "Coach, do you think I can have this? Do you really think I can do it?" And she thought for a second. She said, "Lindsey, nobody in this country, including yourself, has ever seen you at your best, because nobody's seen you do the little things. Nobody's seen you put in the extra work in the gym and do the extra conditioning that's going to get you in shape. Nobody's seen you make the right food decisions and focus on your nutrition. So, those spots are open for the taking. And what are you going to do with it?" And I think for me, that was my aha moment, because all I needed to know was that there was a chance. And so, I started focusing on that, and this is really where my Olympic journey began. And so what I want to do is I want to walk you guys through sort of the mindset that I had. I wanted to be the first, all right? I wanted to go and become the first Arizona-born hockey player, male or female, to go to the Olympics. I wanted to be the first Arizona-born Winter Olympian to win a medal. And I wanted to be first when we got there. And I wanted that medal to be gold. So we're going to talk about goal setting and the process of getting there and reaching those goals, and sort of the steps that I personally took to be the first. All right? So, FIRST is an acronym. It stands for finalize your goals, initiate your plan, respect the process, see past setbacks, and team first. So, step one, finalize your goals, all right? A lot of times you'll hear when people talk about goal setting, all right, there's a bunch of different keys to setting goals. These are a few that I think are the most important. You need to be specific, you need to be realistic, and you need to write them down, all right? You can write your goals down anywhere that you'll see them every day, okay? You can write them down on a little card and put it in your wallet. You can write them down on your mirror, somewhere that you'll see it every single day and be reminded what it is that you want, all right? For me, right after Liz passed away, my mom got me this dream capsule, and it was a necklace that I could put these little rolled up pieces of paper inside. And I wrote down the Olympics. I wrote down Liz's body, because Liz was just one of the most fit athletes I had ever seen, all right? And I knew that she had the body of an Olympian, and that's what I needed to strive for. And the last one was be happy, which for me meant find balance between school and hockey and life and relationships and everything. Be happy. So, finalize your goals. Step two, initiate your plan. It's great, right, to have these goals written down, but if you don't have a sense of how you're going to get there, then that's all they'll ever be, are just goals, all right, at the back of your head. So one way I like to think about this is sort of like a staircase, all right? If you have, that says Olympics up there, but if you have, all right, your ultimate goal at the top of that staircase, and all you do is stare and focus on that goal, that's going to seem like a really long way away, right? That staircase is going to seem really high. And, we good? Oh, forward. All right, so that staircase, that goal is going to seem really, really far away, and climbing all those steps is going to seem really overwhelming, right? And so what we can do is we can create a plan. We can break this staircase down into smaller things that we can be focusing on. So if I want to make it to the Olympics, I need to be the best me. If I want to do that, I need to give 100% in everything that I'm doing. Well, if I want to be able to do that, I need to start eating better. I need to start sleeping more. Okay, well, if I want to be able to do that stuff too, I need to be able to do my extra conditioning, okay? And the most important thing is to initiate that plan and commit. Which leads us into step 3, okay? Respect the process, all right? You've got your goals now, you've got your plan, okay? Now it's time to respect the process. Trust that what you're doing and when you're climbing these steps, that it's going to work if you take it one step at a time. Okay? For me, when I was first embarking on this journey, I was looking up quotes, trying to figure out what's going to motivate me. Okay? And for me, it was this quote that really stuck. Constant dripping hollows out a stone. Right? Constant dripping hollows out a stone. If you put a little droplet of water on a big boulder, one day, it's not going to change, right? You do it another day, it's probably not going to change. But if you keep dripping water on that boulder for days, for weeks, for months, for years, for decades, suddenly that boulder's going to change. And that's when you're going to start getting toward your goal. So, for me, like I said, my daily respect for the process looked like this. That's me on the bike after a game one night, all right? It was training. It was putting in the extra conditioning hours when I didn't want to, but I knew that it was going to be one more drip of water on my boulder, right? Same thing with nutrition. There were plenty of nights where I wanted to go out with my friends and have pizza and ice cream, but I knew that that would take away from what I wanted. And so I chose to eat something healthy instead, and that was one more drip on that boulder. And the result of that was that my junior year, after that summer, after my coach had given me that aha moment, was I ended up making it onto my first senior national team. And in November of my junior year, we went over to Finland and we won the Four Nations Cup. And it was incredible. It was my first taste of what it was like to win with the senior Team USA. And it just totally reinforced the fact that I wanted to go on and play on that Olympic team. But, as anybody who has ever accomplished a goal knows, there are going to be bumps in the road, right? No journey is ever smooth. And so for me, again, what those bumps looked like, it was junior year. Academically, it was the most challenging year of my school career. I had things going on in my head constantly, not only trying to play well for the national team, but for my Harvard team, and I had all this school stuff in my head. And I also had dining halls with an unlimited amount of food. So that leads us to step 4. All right, I found this picture. I thought it described this perfectly. My story, anyway. All right, so we have to see past these setbacks, okay? So for me, junior year, I'm having all this success, and yet I'm stress eating. And so I was going backwards a little bit. I started to not be in the same shape that I once was, all right? I wasn't as fast, I wasn't as strong as I had been right after that summer. And it was it scared me. And I was looking at myself and saying, what are you doing? But I was having a really difficult time pulling myself out of that funk until I was on Facebook and one of my teammates from that team in Finland posted this picture. And it said, optimist is someone who figures that taking a step backward after taking a step forward is not a disaster, it's more like a cha-cha. And it's so true, we've all had those days, all right? I keep focusing on food because like I said, that was my biggest challenge. All right, but we've all had those days where we eat so well for, a couple days, a week, a month, and all of a sudden we have a snap. And it's, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What have I done? I've ruined everything. And we can either continue to go backwards and keep eating badly, all right? Or we can have it just be a cha-cha. And after we take that one step forward, one step backwards, we take one step forward again. Right? So we have to learn how to cha-cha. And I did. I cha-cha'd my way out of it. After I saw that quote, I managed to get back on the horse, get myself back in shape, and had a great junior season at Harvard. All right, so junior year went really well. And, moving on to step 5, all right? Team first, okay? This is one of the most important ones for me personally. This was our mantra, not only at Harvard, but also on the women's national team, all right? So what does team first mean? Well, of course, whenever you're part of a team, and your team is your support system, whether it's your family, your friends, your spouse, your kids, whomever, all right? That's your team. And of course, when we think of team first, we think, okay, I would do anything for them. But whenever we're a part of a team, and I think this is one of the big things for me that I needed to keep in mind, was that team first also means taking care of yourself, being the best you that you can be for the sake of your teammates, right? Another way that team first really impacted me was with this. So Liz actually played on a U18 team as well, and I was able to acquire her jersey after she passed away. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. When we were seniors in high school, we played our very last game together, and we were both crying our eyes out because we knew that she was committed to go play hockey at the University of Minnesota, and I was committed to go play at Harvard. And I remember I put my hand on her knee, and I said, this is not going to be the last time we play together. We're going to work our tails off, and we're going to make that Olympic team, and we will play with each other again. Now, obviously, after she passed away, that wasn't possible anymore, but I carried this jersey with me throughout my entire Olympic journey, all the way to the Olympic Games, because I wanted to be team first, and I wanted to follow through on that promise. All right? So, let's get back to striving to be the first. All right? Quick recap. You got to finalize your goals. Initiate your plan. Respect the process. See past setbacks. And remember to be team first. Okay? And the result for me of following these steps was that in 2013, at the very end of my junior year, I ended up making my first World Championship team, where we went up to Canada and we beat Canada on their own ice, and we won the gold medal at the 2013 World Championship. All right. Then in June of that year, we had the Olympic tryouts, and I was one of 25 girls that they took. They moved us all out to Boston, and we trained together those months leading up to the Olympics. And when the final roster was announced, I came home, was able to tell Team Fry, my family, all right? I told them right before Christmas. It was great. And then on January 1st of 2014 was when we were announced to the world as the official Olympic team. And to hear them say, to hear the announcer say in that big stadium, from Chandler, Arizona, Lindsey Fry, it was just one of the most amazing moments, because 2 years prior to that, I was so far away from that goal. But, like I said, we wanted to be the first. We trained so hard, not just to get to the Olympics, but to win the gold medal. And we went and we had a great tournament. And we had a great final game, and yet we ended up coming up short. And we took away the silver. All right? So, despite the fact that we trained to be the first, we weren't able to accomplish that goal. However, that's why at the beginning of this talk, I told you to keep in mind that success is in the journey. Because when I look down at my silver medal, I am so incredibly proud of what my teammates and I were able to accomplish along the way. We learned so much, all right? And for me personally, that journey started right here in Chandler, Arizona. And to think about all of the things that it took, the sacrifices that it took from not only myself, but from my family to get me to this moment here, that's really what it's all about, all right? So always keep in mind that success is truly in the journey. So, after the Olympics, I went back to Harvard for my senior year. We had an incredible year, had an absolute blast. But after graduation, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And it was actually in this moment here that I knew what I was going to do after I graduated from Harvard. Right after they put this medal around my neck, I looked up at my family. I knew exactly where they were sitting. And it was sort of surreal. All of these visions just started flashing through my head of my teammates here in Chandler when I was 6 years old, my coaches, my parents, parents of other friends who would let us put holes in their walls in the house playing hockey when we were kids, people in Colorado, trainers, professors at Harvard, everyone who had gotten me to this moment is what I was thinking about, and I knew that I wanted to go on and inspire others when I was done with school. Not only hockey players, but everybody. I wanted to use my experiences, my challenges, my story, my journey to help inspire others to reach their goals as well. So, I started up my own business, Lindsey for Hockey, where I go out and I work with young female hockey players all across the country. I've been to places, and they're all places similar to Arizona, where there's not a ton of girls hockey, but they're there and they deserve love and attention and education, just like the kids who are in Minnesota or Canada or Boston. So I do that. I speak at schools. Oh, that's Team Fry. I speak at schools. I work with young players, and I come out to events like this to hopefully share my story, share my process, and inspire all of you. So strive to be the first, but always remember that success is in the journey. Thank you guys so much. Okay, I'll be outside with some pictures to sign and all that good stuff if you guys would like to come chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for coming. Does anybody have to walk or run or do something right now? Are you on the schedule?
I have to walk at 4:15.
What do you need to do?
4:15.
4:15? Oh, you got 15 minutes.
Yeah. Where do you go to go?
I will show you.
Yeah, Memphis, hold this.